Welcome to today's Explainer. You know, we usually see global pop stars and idols under the blinding stadium lights, right? They're flawlessly executing choreography in front of tens of thousands of screaming fans. But what actually happens when those stage lights go off? Today, we're going to look at a recent live stream that perfectly captures the extreme, honestly kind of jarring contrast between the super glamorous life of stadium pop stars and the chaotic, incredibly relatable reality of their hotel rooms.
Let's just dive right into it. The second they hit go on this live stream, boom. That untouchable pop star illusion, completely gone. Instead of some highly produced broadcast, they're immediately battling technical difficulties. The camera keeps falling down, prompting one of them to just sigh and ask, "My life is very hectic. Why did this fall?" And then there's this genuine, super relatable panic about the hotel room TV. They're seriously worried the lights or the TV will just automatically shut off at 11 p.m. Because, hotel TVs actually do that sometimes. It's the exact kind of mundane travel stress literally anyone who has stayed in a hotel can relate to.
Section 1. Behind the live stream chaos. Technical difficulties. So, the adrenaline of the concert wears off, and what happens? These artists are left wrestling with incredibly wonky hotel room setups. I mean, look at the comedic struggles they face just trying to get the stream going. First off, they spent time arguing over what to even title the live stream. One of them was questioning why it was named Tampa Max something, instead of just a simple Tampa. Then there's this moment of sheer confusion where they worried a stray hotel towel was actually blocking the camera and ruining the broadcast. Add in the usual complaints about incredibly slow hotel Wi-Fi and the fact that the screen kept turning on every time someone accidentally brushed against it. It just completely humanizes them. They aren't tech wizards. They're just exhausted guys trying to make a phone work in a strange room.
Section 2. Comfort food on tour. The grounding ritual.
So how exactly do they cope with all that exhaustion and touring chaos? Food. It's the ultimate grounding mechanism, cooking and sharing casual meals, like ramen, right there in the hotel room. Take this culinary debate that breaks out during the stream. On the one hand, we have Jimin's accidental creation. He put in a bit too much water, making this cloudy dish they jokingly dubbed black pepper tteokbokki. On the other hand, you have the strict original recipe. One of the artists absolutely insists he only follows the original, noting that, ideally, it requires a specific Chungyang chili to get the absolute best flavor. A flavor he excitedly notes is coming in 3 months. This friendly bickering over water ratios, it's just so wonderfully ordinary. And despite the watery mistake, the comfort this food brings them is immense. They genuinely adore this simple dish. One of them actually remarks that it tastes exactly like comforting street food from a Daegu market. In fact, he loves this specific taste so much that he buys it in bulk, like 20 packs at a time, to eat daily when he's back home. It just goes to show how, no matter how far they travel around the world, a taste of home is what truly grounds them.
But hey, it's not all just comfort food from home. They're also navigating the wild variety of local tour catering. They express absolute shock and honestly a bit of morbid curiosity over some local menu items. They talk about staring down what was presented to them as gator meat and, shockingly, fried dog meat, literally wondering if it was real. On a slightly more appetizing note, they talk about their absolute love for messy, spicy seafood boils, eaten straight out of a bag, Tampa's famous crab dishes, and even casually discuss modern trendy snacks like truffle bulgogi and caffeine-free grapefruit drinks. Food really is their primary way of experiencing the cities they visit.
Section 3. The physical toll. The reality of the idol life.
Okay, let's strip away that untouchable stage persona for a second and look at the actual physical toll this lifestyle takes. 1 hour. I mean, think about that. That is exactly how long it takes one of the artists just to air dry his long hair after a sweaty stadium show. It's such a completely mundane detail, right? But it really emphasizes the hidden, exhausting struggles they endure behind closed doors. The fans only see the perfect, flawless hair on stage. They don't see the full hour lost in a random hotel room just waiting for it to dry.
And man, this exhaustion totally spills over into their social media obligations too. They share an incredibly candid confession about how annoying taking selfies has become for them. The endless process of checking angles, taking photos over and over again, it's just draining. One artist admits he now prefers to just casually upload whatever he takes, bypassing that whole exhausting perfectionism entirely.
Which kind of leads into this really beautifully vulnerable reflection on aging in this hyper-competitive music industry. When playfully asked to show off his idol power, the artist responds with this quote, "It's not easy being in your 30s. They openly acknowledge that maintaining the intense physical standard and energy of an idol is simply getting harder as they get older. It's a rare moment of pure honesty that really shatters that illusion of eternal youth the industry usually tries to project.
Section 4. Reflecting on Tampa fans
gratitude in the heat. Now, despite how physically drained they are, their primary thoughts don't linger on their aching bodies. They immediately turn to the fans. The reflections on the Tampa show highlight this perfectly. They express deep, heartfelt appreciation for the fans who braved the intensely hot Florida weather. They acknowledge that fans stood outside, patiently waiting for hours in extreme heat just to support them. Their main takeaway isn't just, wow, we did a good job. It's, I am really thankful for what the fans actually endured for us.
And this brilliantly illustrates the other pillar of their support system, each other. They talk about the deep camaraderie that gets them through this grueling schedule. They find immense comfort in just doing a live stream together after a long time apart, and they actually look forward to leaning on each other for the full year of touring ahead. They even admit they find a lot of humor in watching each other make minor mistakes on stage. It keeps them grounded and really reminds them not to take things too seriously.
Section 5. The Global Fan Experience. Mapping the tour. This deep connection with fans isn't just a local thing, it's a global phenomenon. When mapping their tour experience, distinct locations really stand out to them. In Tampa, as we talked about, the defining feature was the heat and the incredible patience of the fans. But when they talk about Mexico, their eyes just light up. They describe the fans there as crazy, passionate, noting you'd be absolutely shocked by their energy. Interestingly, they also mention observing high fan demand online from India and openly express a strong desire to bring their tour there in the future.
They're also noticing a huge shift in the crowd demographics. They note a real transition from traditional concert vibes to this completely new era. They describe their shows now as massive, inclusive parties, where everyone just comes to have an amazing time. Specifically, they were thrilled to see a growing male fan base. They vividly recall looking out and seeing a large male fan in the crowd aggressively screaming every single lyric to their songs. It's a heartwarming shift that makes them feel incredibly good about their evolving reach.
And that evolving reach really fuels their excitement for the future. Even while totally exhausted, they note their genuine curiosity about heading to new destinations they've never visited before. They specifically mention El Paso, noting how close it is to Mexico and the broader South American leg of the upcoming tour. The adventure of the unknown keeps the whole tour feeling fresh for them.
Section 6. Finding joy on tour. A conscious choice.
So how do you actually balance the absolute thrill of global adulation with the exhaustion of slow Wi-Fi and watery noodles? It all comes down to mindset. I really want you to absorb this quote. You have to stay happy. If you aren't happy, you have to find it yourself. This is their profound philosophy on maintaining mental well-being on the road. It's a recognition that joy isn't just going to magically appear because you're famous. Finding joy is a personal responsibility, especially when you're thousands of miles from home and totally physically drained.
And how do they actually find that joy? Well, in the quiet, mundane moments of their hotel room downtime, they actively seek out happiness by connecting with the very people who put them in those stadiums. They admit to spending their time scrolling through and liking the endless stream of positive fan posts online. The fans give them energy on stage, and they rely on that exact same fan energy to recharge in private. Which brings us to this literally staggering number, 4 million. At the very end of this chaotic, super casual broadcast, right as they're about to log off, one of them looks at the screen in pure disbelief and shouts, "What, 4 million people are watching?" While they were casually eating ramen, complaining about the TV turning off at 11, and debating towel placements, the population of a small country was silently watching them live. It's a surreal, almost incomprehensible reality. Which leaves us with a final thought to wrap up this explainer. Look at the sheer duality of their existence. On one side, you have the godlike worship of millions of people. On the other, you're just a tired guy in your 30s trying to dry your hair and cook instant noodles. So I have to ask you, could you handle the extreme duality of screaming massive stadiums and quiet, chaotic hotel room ramen dinners? It's a fascinating balancing act that defines the modern touring idol. Thanks for exploring this with me today.